What's up? Let's put the microphone right here, right? Mic check 1 2 1 2. Raise your hand if you've ever been to a book crawl. A couple of months ago, I took an impromptu trip out to Philly for their second annual Philly Book Crawl. And I wanted to show you what I got, where I visited, and how much fun I had. Let's go. So, when I say it was impromptu, my handy dandy notebook, I made an itinerary for it. They had a little bit more organized this year, and when I say organized, I mean they shared like a Google map of all the bookstores that are participating, and from that I kind of curated my own little roadmap of the stores that I wanted to visit, and they were Black-owned stores, and some stores that I've been following and supporting virtually for a couple of months now. So I'm going to go through my little itinerary, and then hopefully if I know how to edit this correctly, I can input some images and videos that I took while I was out there, and then I will share some of the items that I purchased. Okay? All right. So got on my little Jeep and I left around 9 o'clock. No, I'm lying. I left about 9:30. And after getting breakfast and getting gas, I got to Philly about 11 something. I was in traffic for a little bit, but my first stop was to Healing While Black. Now, Healing While Black is in West Philadelphia, and is owned by Josh, and he was my first stop, and he really just created a wonderful atmosphere for me while I was out there. So here is the goodie bag of stuff that I purchased from his store, and I don't know what I anticipated or what I expected from it. I knew visiting bookstores I would likely be tempted to buy books, but honestly, being able to converse with the owners and them ranging into looking like me, being in the same age range, being transplants from New York for some of the stores that I visited, it was really like, oh, this could be the retirement plan. But yeah. Anyway, Josh's store was set up more like your home den. It was very cozy, a lot of artwork that filled the walls, and he had bookshelves across this little room area filled and stacked with books how like I would have them. And it reminded me of like the bookcases that were in my home growing up. My parents would just have like books from like this end to this end, and then more books would be accumulated, and there's kind of just like stacked in there, and you just got to know what you're looking for when you go in there. And I loved it. It just felt very like used. It felt like referenced a lot. So immediately I was comfortable. It had like couple of chairs you could sit in. But anyway, what I ended up getting, because Josh also had accumulation of just cultural items. I was going to call them artifacts, but items that like it's just culture and you just want in your house. But anyway, I'm rambling. So after doing all of that looking and window shopping, I started off with like 10 books in my hand, and I ended up leaving with the ones I'm going to show you right now. There is no rhyme or reason for any time I purchase books. Honestly, I just pick up what my heart feels kind of attracted to, I would say. So there's literally, I don't go, especially a bookstore like this, it wasn't kind of like your newer books that you would like go to the Barnes and Noble or Amazon or Target or whatever big establishment like that. You will go to purchase books, or even your local bookstore. It was like, I'm going over to my cousin's house because I need to borrow this book, and it felt like that. So they were just unique in that aspect. So it was very rare finds, and books that are just history and culture. So we'll start there. One of the first ones is Brown Girl Brownstones by Paul Marshall. I got a little camera now that I'm trying to, you don't care. I can see myself in there. So if I'm looking up, I'm looking at the camera. Yeah, so this one is it's a fiction work. I think it's a fiction work kind of done in the past a little bit, but it just seemed like one of those like coming to age kind of a books that just kind of like felt nostalgic. Um, Black girls love a good brownstone when we can get in it. It's one of those ones that I'm like, I would like this on my bookshelf too. Next one that I picked up was another random one. But this one is From Okra to Greens, a different kind of love story. It's a play with music and dance by Ntozake Shange. And there's something so special. Hold on a second. There's something so special to me about having the original. Hello? Hold on a second, because I'm not in focus. Oh, okay. There's something just like really special to me about having the original playwright of things. And I feel like I entertain the idea every now and again around not only being in a play, but yeah, other silly things that I entertain around like playwriting and things like that. And also, Ntozake Shange is well known for color girls who have considered suicide when rain is enough. I just love theater. I really enjoy theater. And yeah, so I got that. I got this. Don't know what this is about either, but when I was there, I was like, that's cool. The next one, I just feel like it's culture. It's Bell Hooks. Remembered Rapture, The Writer at Work. Again, it's one of them ones that it's just like when I get my bookshelf, for real, when I pick it up instead of just having books in different places, this is one of them ones. Like also it's one of those authors that you just want to have the work there. But it's interesting that I got this because I got All About Love, and I'm in the middle of that one. This one, I think it's the same kind of like essay writing. It challenges me, and that's the thing about Bell Hooks writing. And a lot of the greats, their works challenge me, and whenever I am in the mood to be challenged or pushed, or just really having to sit with my thoughts in a different type of way because of this complexity, I want to do it. So I had to do it for culture, and I had to do it for me. So Remembered Rapture, The Writer at Work. And then I got a fun one. So this one is called Sometimes I Trip on How Happy We Can Be by Nicole Perkins. I feel like this is another one that I've seen within Bookstagram, or it just looked familiar to me because it's one of those types of books that is essay writing, and I really enjoy essay writing because it's kind of, it reminds me of journal writing a lot. And when authors kind of do like their essay pieces, it's constructed in this way where it's like a lot of information, but it can be done in a way that's captivating. So those are the books that I got from Josh's store, Healing While Black. A part of, I think one of his sponsors was, he was giving away some free books. I got a little cookbook, recipes and activities for kids and families to celebrate. I thought it was so cute. The last thing I purchased was this Ebony magazine, a vintage copy of Ebony magazine. And the reason why I got this one is because the cover is Beauty and the Beat. Black colleges feature pretty girls, jazzy bands at a football halftime. It just felt like me. Come on. Love it. And it's protected. And I even when I saw this also was published in 1972, January 1972. When I saw this, I was like, number one, I'm keeping it in this, or if I take this out, I'm going to frame it. And now is my life's mission to find Ebony magazines so that I can have my own collection of them. I don't even need to collect Ebony magazines. I still keep some of my favorite magazines from like Essence and Ebony. I don't have Jet, but I would love to have that. And I just would love to have within my collector's stuff just beautiful covers of old magazines. Another historical artifact, culture, unique. And you can get this at his thing. Even at his shop, he was like, if you see any art, like everything for sale, like whatever you want, you can take. I say, Josh, what? Don't tell me that. I'll take this whole store. Matter of fact, I'm moving in. I'm not kidding. Okay, so that was Healing While Black in West Philadelphia. The next bookstore I went to go visit was Uncle Bobbies, which is in Germantown. Uncle Bobbies was one of the first Philadelphia bookstores that I followed on Instagram. I don't even know how I came across them. I think I might just be looking up bookstores in Philadelphia. But that was been on my list for a while. They're always hosting. I know how I found them. They always host like author talks and author conversations, and I used to watch some of them virtually. So yeah, that's how I came across his. But let me show you what I got for his store. Uncle Bobby's was more of like cafe mixed with bookstore. So a little bit more of like, I guess you would say, the modern kind of a look. You can buy stuff like pastries and coffee and whatever. And then they had like the back that was dedicated to their books. And they were more like your newer items. Cool people, dope books, great coffee. Yup. I think that's Uncle Bobby right there. And I got a little pin too. Cute. All right, so the first book I got, Monday's Not Coming by Tiffany D. Jackson. Did I need to go ahead and get this one? Because I know it's going to take me on an emotional roller coaster. But I've been hearing about it for a while. So the girls already let me know at the bookstore, are you okay with crying? Are you okay with getting mad? I say I do both of them every day. Well, I don't do them every day, but so yeah, I already know what to expect with Monday's Not Coming. And then I picked up Sonia Sanchez's collected poems. I just enjoy her work. I remember a few years ago, I went to, this is pre-pandemic, the Brooklyn Museum had an event that I believe she was there for. And it was kind of like an ode to Sonia. And I can't find any pictures or videos of, sorry, I can't find any footage of that. And I remember I went with like two of my homegirls. And I got the pictures of us, but I remember I was taking pictures during it because I was in the front. Like, I was like 6 rows in the front of this conversation. And I can't find any of it. Sonia just writes in a way that's just like, huh? It just like, it's one of the things that just like, it grabs you right then, you're like by the collar. For me, I don't know. I'm also a poetry girl. Poetry is like one of my first love languages. And it's one of them things that I always come back to. I'm always going to come back to poetry. I'm always going to come back to haikus. So yeah, I'm happy to have it. Another collector's item. And the last thing I got was 2 little collectibles. This one is Langston Hughes. This one is Zora Neale Hurston. And I don't know. I love these are cards, by the way. So they're just like artwork. And on the inside, it has like one quote. And I love these type of cards. You can get them from like off the street. If you out in New York, sometimes at the flea markets and stuff, they'll have like these little cards, and it's just different from like a regular Hallmark card. But these one I want to keep because these quotes spoke to me. The one on Zora Neale Hurston says, "Those that don't got it can't show it. Those that got it can't hide it." And basically what Zora said is, if you got it, you got it. If you don't, you know, you... And then the one on Langston says, perhaps the mission of an artist is to interpret beauty to people, the beauty within themselves. So when I saw these, literally in my mind is what I want to do is cut the card, and I want to have like the face here, and then I want to have the quote. Like if I can get like a frame that can do like a 2 thing, put like one part here and then like the other part with the quote over there, and kind of like decorate it with my own stuff and put it on there. Like kind of like pressed flowers is kind of what I'm seeing in my head of what I want to do with these, because I want to like emphasize the quotes in it. So that's kind of what I see. I don't know if I'm actually going to do it, but when I make the decision I'm going to keep the cards, that's what I said I was going to do with it. So that's what I got from Uncle Bobby's. The next one that I visited was Umoja. I learned that the owners, she comes from an African background. So we have a lot of the prints and the culture items. We had teas in the front. The teas you know you can't get from no place. If you're in New York, we have a really big Caribbean West Indian presence here, but like them teas that that'll knock a cold out, them herbs, there's medicines that'll get like an illness out. You can't find them, but they was in there. So she has that, and she also has like she's making coffee and lattes and teas too for purchase. So I didn't get any books from there because nothing just kind of like stood out that I wanted. They also had like a dollar books in the back, and they had one of these movies that I remember I saw in undergrad. It was called Sankofa, which means return back home, I believe. So the only thing I got from there was kind of like a keepsake from visiting, and it was waist beads. Come on now. And ironically, these are too big for me now. But yeah, this is my little keepsake from Umoja. That's that. And the last one that I went to was Harriet's. Now, I wanted to go to some other ones there. I think I wanted to go to Booked as well. I was out in Germantown, didn't make it. And then I wanted to go to another one that I'm going to say in Fishtown. But the day was just going. And also, I'm driving from like Bookstore 1 to Bookstore 2. And they're, a little bit of a ways between each of them. So the last place I went to, as I said, was Harriet's. I hope I got the footage rolling because just look at Harriet's. It was beautiful. This little royal blue paint throughout with like gold accents. They had this pink couch in there. There was an altar in the front. It felt very like when you go in here, bring the right energy when you're entering into this space. There was incense burning. I believe there was music playing. And I just loved how the books were displayed. They had like certain books on the shelves. Like let's say these are shelves and like different books on the shelves for like some of the recent releases and stuff. And then in the back, they have a little bit more of like older items that you can purchase. And it's a family owned bookstore. They also have a sister store called Ida's. So if you get a Harriet's for Harriet B. Tubman, Ida for Ida B. Wells, but that one is in New Jersey, Ida's, but Harriet's is in Fishtown. And I've supported Harriet's. I knew about Harriet's because I've supported them in the virtual space. Like they have these sweatshirts that I purchased, and they have like different authors, like the goats. And I got that. What I actually purchased from there, I didn't get a book because I didn't see any books that I just felt like I had to get while I was there. I just got a little notebook. This is what I've been using to kind of just jot down. I'm trying to be better and proactive, like jotting down my thoughts and stuff for my book. So I'm just like when I'm reading a book, what's going on, what I'm feeling, so that when I start talking about it, I'm talking with some like sequential information. Because thinking about it, I be but yeah, so that was my trip to Philly. I ended up I stayed at, I don't remember the hotel. Was it the Lowe's, perhaps? It was cute. It was in Central City. So I was in the mecca of everything, like right there and there. A lot of their historical items are right there. But I tell you, swamped. By the end of that, I was swamped. I was just like enthralled in like a kid. Like I just felt super excited to just be walking around and maneuvering in that. So that was my Philly book crawl experience. I would absolutely do it again. I hope that this takes place in a lot of other locations. I know they did one in New York, and a lot of the bookstores that participated were in Brooklyn. But I think it's beautiful, and I think the most inspiring thing around the entire trip was just, one, the stores that I visited were all Black-owned stores. Two, I loved the individuality of the bookstores. Like no bookstore looked like the other bookstore, and it brought that extra flair of individualism, and create the space that you want. So I really loved how that was important. It didn't feel like, oh, I'm going into this standard store. It felt like everything had like a good feeling. And I was so happy that I did this trip. And yeah, I would love to visit more. There's other ones on my list that I want to get out there and see. And just like see in general, I feel like it's such a great space to just converse and meet people in this way, sharing in your love for reading and experiences. So I wanted to make sure that I got on here and share that and give all those bookstores and any bookstore that I get to visit, but just have on my list to visit their love and their flowers. But yeah, until next time, bye.